All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Nikki Muscle from MitigateStress.com. I know it's been a while, but in today's video, we're going to be doing a quick overview of the mental pillar, which is by far the most important pillar when it comes to mitigate stress, your overall health, wellness, and performance. If you don't know already, we have four main pillars: mental, nourish, environment, and movement. You can have every other pillar perfect to a T. However, if this appears in shambles, you're in trouble. In fact, I don't think anything else really matters until you get this right. And for so many years, I did have every other pillar right, or at least better, right, focused. Whereas this pillar was always kind of on the back burner. It's like, just think more positive, pray more. It's so much deeper than that. So if you haven't already subscribed to our newsletter, this is where we've been active a lot more with our blogs. I've already written about 5 different blogs about the mental pillar, but today, again, we're going to be doing an overview. I'm going to leave you off with some action items. I'm going to leave you off with a routine to help get you in the best mental shape that you've ever been in your life. And the most important part is that we have to understand that behavior is never stagnant. Stagnancy or complacency is the enemy when it comes to intimate relationships, business relationships, and general friendships. It is the enemy because it's an illusion. There really is no stagnant area. It's either your behavior is improving, getting better, or it's getting worse. It's declining. So if we're stagnant, we feel we're stagnant or complacent within a relationship or our behavior or improvements, self-improvement, more often than not, you're just getting worse. And so that's a very scary place to be because no one really plans or wants to grow old, bitter, resentful, and just live as a victim. What a tragedy, how miserable that would be. That's very, very scary. I think about it right now. It's frightening to even think about that. So how to avoid that? Well, you just got to be on a 3% grade. You got to have the right tools in your toolbox. You got to have the right routine to ensure that you're not going to fall back into your old shadow ways, your old tendencies, whatever you want to call it. So today, again, I'm going to provide you with some action items. I'm going to simplify it, minimalize it, because the last 2.5 years, I spent nonstop 3 to 5 hours a day just studying daily prayer. We're going to cover dopamine detox, emotional intelligence, relationships. I think everyone should prioritize the study of relationships. I think it's the most important study of life, honestly. Also, community and service and internal subconscious dialogue rescripting. So, without further ado, let's get started. First and foremost, we're going to be talking about daily prayer. What do you want to do with this? Well, again, we have the daily prayer blog that you can read with all the facts and the science, why it's important to do so. However, let's give you some action items. When you wake up, go immediately to prayer. This is very important. I can't tell you everything why, but I just want to let you know that whenever we cover one of these subcategories within this major mental category, you have to know that it's going to overlap within every other subcategory. It's all congruent and synergistic with one another. So when we do the daily prayer, we're not just praying, it's also helping our dopamine, our emotional intelligence. It's making us less reactive. It's helping us to be patient. It's helping to re-script our subconscious. It's why it's the most important thing to start your day off with focused, intentional, heartfelt prayer. You don't want to just read your prayers and just read them word for word. That's helpful, but it's better than nothing. But again, you gotta have intention, you gotta feel it, and you gotta be present and focused. And after you finish your prayer, then you go into silence. You meditate for 5, 10 minutes, whatever, on your prayer. That's very, very important. This is gonna really reprogram your subconscious. It's gonna really help to detox that dopamine. And then after your meditation or your silence, you can journal some gratitude. What you're grateful for, what you already have, your family, your friends, stuff like that. That really just, it seems like such a cliche or like just it wouldn't do much. That process alone is life-changing, I can tell you that. So daily prayer, get into some meditation, silence on that prayer, and then do some gratitude journaling. And then you can journal for your day, what you're going to do for that day. I think it's better to write than have everything on your phone. Daily prayer, it's not just morning, preferably evening and afternoon as well. But at the very least, as soon as you wake up. Number 2 is dopamine detox. This is a huge blog. And the emotional intelligence, all of it's a lot of content, but this one is just so in-depth. Basically what that means is spend less time on social media, YouTube, IG, TikTok, X, less doom scrolling, less music. If you're going to listen to music, preferably classical 432 hertz, less Netflix binging, less podcasts on the background. If you're eating, try to eat in silence, focus on the taste of the food, appreciate it, be present with it. If you're walking, yeah, I listen to some videos and podcasts sometimes, But I walk a lot, and honestly, half my walks are in utter, complete silence and prayer. And if I didn't have that, I'd be a mess, because that's my one sure way to really get present and focus and detox some dopamine. So embrace the boredom. Embrace the boredom. This is a huge one. Whenever you find yourself bored, maybe you get to a meeting early, you get to an appointment early. You don't have to do something 24/7. In fact, you'll become more productive if you slow down a little bit. You work, you rest. And so you don't have to be distracted, because that's stress for your brain. Your nervous system can't really tell the difference. So when you're at an appointment early or a meeting early, just focus on a wall. I like to do these things. I learned from this one gentleman, I can't remember his name, but he basically told me to stare at a wall for 5 to 10 minutes whenever you want throughout the day. So you have your meditation, you have your naps. Those are important. Keep doing those every day. However, if you find yourself you have some downtime, stare at a wall for 5 to 10 minutes. Don't even think about anything else. That's it. That's going to help recover or rebalance your dopamine, because we're trying to get back to a baseline. Do hard things that you don't want to do. Again, we're still talking about dopamine detox. Do hard things that you don't want to do. Prioritize work and workouts early in the day. And then you can reward yourself for only a limited amount of time in the evening, just not too close to bed. You can have a little bit of social media, Netflix, all that bull crap. This is a huge one. Avoid multitasking. People always tell me, well, I'm not multitasking. No. Science has actually proven that multitaskers are actually worse at multitasking than people that focus on one task at a time. And if you think cooking is multitasking, I got some news for you. It's not, because it's just still one major task. And yes, you have women commenting and saying, oh, but I have kids and all this. The point is, do what you can. Maybe at the same time you have music going on, you have a podcast going on in the background. Eliminate all these tasks. That's the point. And if you can, whenever you are doing a single task at a time, just focus on that one task at a time until it's finished and complete. This is something I struggled with for a long time, but I tell you what, this has changed my productivity and my mental health and my focus so much. So that's pretty much daily dopamine detox. Again, we have a blog that goes into much more depth. And then we have emotional intelligence, less reactivity, and relationships, the study of relationships, human, masculine, female dynamics, psychology, etc. So slow your reactions down. This is probably one of the most important things that you'll ever do. Is we're going to talk about this a lot, but you always want to be on a mental diet. Yes, you want to keep your thoughts in check, your negative assumptions, expectations, but most importantly, control your reactions, how you react to certain situations. I know for sure I'm not perfect. All right, I'm not saying that, but I am getting a lot better every day. And part of that is just being aware that it's not good for my health. There has to be a reason, a why we're doing any of these things. Why are we spending less time on social media? Because it's literally turning you into a zombie, period. Why are we reducing our reactions? Because you will live longer and healthier, and you will look healthier and sexier if you react less. You'll have less wrinkles. Now, does that convince you? I don't know what else will, but I'm telling you, react less. Someone cuts in front of you. Someone doesn't get your order right. Whatever. Crap happens, right? Does your health cost more than that reaction? You have to ask yourself that. More self-control. I know I struggle with this. More calm, cool, collected. Guard your peace, guard your heart, and guard your soul. And most importantly, study emotional intelligence from Dr. John and Julie Gottman, and study the art of relationships, masculine, feminine, dynamic psychology, stuff like that. It's going to make your life so much less stressful, because knowledge is power, period. So that's emotional intelligence, less reactivity. Work on reacting less, maybe journal when you do react, and you can see a trend and just improve it, right? Number 4 is community and service. Avoid isolating yourself too much. This is one of the biggest lessons I've ever had in my life. And my spiritual father told me that community is life. And when I was younger, when I was a new age and very shamanistic, I always wanted to live as a hermit in the woods, off grid, away from everybody, because everyone else was the problem but me, when in reality it was me that was the problem, right? So avoid isolating yourself too much. Spend time with company, with friends and family that you like. Volunteer, donate more, forgive others, help others. Think of yourself less and more of others. That doesn't mean don't take care of yourself. It's actually quite the opposite. It doesn't mean think less of yourself. It means think of yourself less, right? So when we're always stuck in our mind thinking about ourselves, it can really make us disconnected with reality and others, and really disconnect ourselves from relationships and the moment, being present. So community and service is so, so important. And then lastly, internal subconscious dialogue rescripting. I don't know about you, but negative thoughts are a burden. And most of the time, they are autonomous. This is because 90% of our actions or our thoughts are literally from our unconscious mind or subconscious mind. So stop with the negative self-talk. Stop thinking, stop expecting, stop assuming the worst negatively of others and circumstances. So you have to start rewriting your subconscious with prayer, yes. Affirmations, yes, that's important as well. Journaling, so basically a good practice would be to, after your prayer, after your silent meditation, go for a walk or something, come back, and then just be present with your thoughts. And then get your journal and then start writing them down, because the act of writing will slow your brain down and it will allow you to take control of what you truly are thinking. Just remember that not all your thoughts are your own. We have to be very, very aware of that so we don't go insane. And journal these thoughts that come to mind. And I'm going to tell you, probably the majority of them may or not, I don't know, be very, very negative. And so maybe you have a poor self-image, you have a poor self-perspective, you have poor assumptions of yourself. Not only yourself, all these things, but also with others, and you expect the worst when it comes to any event. Very important to not sabotage your success by journaling it down, getting it out on paper, becoming clear, and then meditating on that negativity for a little bit, feeling it. This is something I've been doing lately. It's powerful. Because you don't want to just ignore it. You want to feel and acknowledge that you are human. You are going to feel emotions. But the goal is to embody it or be with it, feel it, and then detach and let it go and say, okay, I no longer choose to feel that anymore. Thank you, subconscious, for trying to protect me, because ultimately speaking, it is just a survival mechanism. It's based off fear, right? And so it is trying to protect you. However, we live in a day and age where it's so confused because of so much subconscious programming that we're just not aware of. Subliminal messaging from Disney and Hollywood propaganda and just nonsense rhetoric that we've been subject to since birth, and we're just completely unaware of it. And so we have to use our conscious mind to actively start the process of programming our subconscious mind. Again, it starts with journaling, laying it all out, feeling it, letting it go, and then transmuting it to the opposite. And the thing is, when you transmute it, when I was New Age and I became Christian, I threw all this out. And then when I became Orthodox, I was like, oh, Orthodox is actually very metaphysical. And a lot of this is very, very important. If you want to learn more about what I'm talking about, go ahead and pick up the book, Our Thoughts Determine Our Lives by Elder Thaddeus. He goes into so much detail of how important our mindset is. Like, we can literally create hell on earth with our thoughts, or heaven on earth, peace, right? So we have to guard our peace, guard our heart, guard our soul. But the thing is, what I was saying is, when you transmute that negative rhetoric, those assumptions, expectations, that internal dialogue, you have to transmute it into something that is believable. And then you have to persist in that reality to the point where you have unwavering belief. Because in reality, that negative rhetoric is truly not believable. It's actually not real. But you've programmed yourself for so long to believe that it's real, but it's really not. Like, you think maybe like, oh, I'm so awkward, no one likes me. Like, no, people like me. I do have friends. I may not get along with everybody, but I do have good friends, and people do appreciate me and are grateful for me. And I do have some worth in this world. Like, you have to start making it believable and realize that, no, that's fake. That's from the devil, right? Because, like Elder Thaddeus suggests, again, the book that I was mentioning, he says, any thought that knocks you off your center and takes you from your peace, that's from hell. That's a thought from hell. So we have to treat it as such. And this is why it's so important. I'm going to leave you off with the most important, is that we have to be on a mental diet 24/7. We talk about our internal diet, right? We talk about our movement diet, our environment, but we never talk about our mental diet. We have to keep this in check. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. I'd say at least 90 days of being consistent. And then after that, have a nice sustainable routine after that to make sure that you don't revert back to your old ways. But the thing is, your subconscious has to find a new comfort zone. And the only way to get to that new comfort zone is to reprogram it with yes, affirmations, but most importantly, you have to feel it, you have to believe it, you have to envision it, and you have to understand that that old story that you were holding on to for whatever fear reason or whatever trauma, whatever you want to call it, it's not real. Let it go, detach, and then persist in the new reality. I know this kind of sounds a little bit new age, but again, the only thing that would be new age or shamanistic about it is if you start coming up with some crazy, unrealistic visualization and alternate reality that maybe could happen if you thought about it enough, but you know, it's like, obviously you're not going to grow wings and start flying. You can't visualize that. I don't know, maybe you could. Maybe the mind is pretty powerful. I think it's stupid to think that we're not extremely powerful. God has gifted us with amazing potential, but all I'm saying is it has to be believable enough. And again, we have to realize that that old story is not believable. The final thing I want to leave off with is all that's important, but doing activities such as mobility, massages, hot baths, daily naps, sleeping early, red light therapy, practicing Buteyko, slow, deep nasal breathing, using different tools to relax you. All that is very, very important. Taking boredom breaks, like I mentioned earlier, doing high intensity workouts, 10 to 20 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week, and then going for long, relaxing, quiet, silent walks. All this is very, very important for getting into the best mental shape of your life. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I was a little bit passionate and ranty a little bit towards the end, but I'm gonna keep redoing these videos. I'm just gonna get them out here because I have this terrible engineer perfection mindset, and if I don't just push these out, they're never gonna get released. And the most important thing is you guys get some content. So I'll see you next time. Anyways, God bless. Peace.